7-6. Henman.
Well, now here's the real test for Federer. Facing a match point on his own serve. This is number 2. It's long, it's all over.
3 sets to 1. 7-5, 7-6, 2-6, 7-6.
And into the crowd goes the sweatlet. Henman, for the 3rd time in 4 years, has advanced to the semi-finals. And what a marvellous tennis match it was. 3 hours and 13 minutes of real drama. And in the end, playing the big points marginally better today than his young opponent, though we have to say that Federer has covered himself in glory today. Daniel may have been eaten by the British Lion, but he wasn't disgraced.
Well, what a roller coaster of a match. Henman thought he'd won it so many other times before. Should have had a 5-1 lead in the 4th, but he still came back. Wonderful performance.
It made it more exciting.
Yeah,
you got to say that. I mean, my heart rate's about 160. I can't imagine what these two players are.
Absolutely marvellous performance altogether, and now the big guns to face of Goran Ivanisevic. Wow. And this is how it ended.
Well, he got a shot at that second serve. He got it just low enough, and here's where this call took an eternity. Initially not called. It was long, though, and that's pure joy for Henman.
Tim, many congratulations through to the semi-final. What a match!
Yeah, it was tough. You know, for the first 2 sets, I think I played pretty much faultless tennis, and I was so pleased with my serving and my volleying, and I was really aggressive. And I suppose it was inevitable that I was going to have a little dip, but that still doesn't make it excusable. I missed a couple of volleys. I think he got a net cord, and he got an early break in the 3rd, and that wasn't what I wanted. But you know, he certainly was still in the match, and you know, 4th set, I thought it was important to try and stamp my authority, get on top. Managed to do that, and you know, it's tough. There's a lot of pressure out there, and I'm tight as a drum. It's inevitable you're going to get a little nervous, and it got pretty tight at the end.
Yeah, I was actually frightened to death, along with the rest of the nation. We'll take you through the match in a second, but sure. Match point there, have you ever played a more enjoyable sort of point?
It was a little closer comfort. I think it was definitely out, but there was a certain amount of relief. It wasn't the best return I hit all day, but you know, in that type of situation, it was over the net. It was on the island, and fortunately for me, Roger helped me then, because he certainly hadn't helped me at the end of the 4th set.
The tie-break, 6-3 down in that first set. Yeah. You clawed your way back, 7-6. What a fantastic lob that was. Do you remember it? You must do.
Yeah, I do. And in all honesty, it was the right shot, but I was a little bit lucky, because as I went to hit the shot, it was a pretty low ball. My racket caught the ground just before I hit it, so it kind of threw me off a little bit, and it probably wasn't meant to go quite as close to the line as it did, but I was pretty happy to see it land on the line.
2 sets up, then he started to come back, yeah. And then you had to show real character. I mean, yeah. when you're sitting there and he's clawing his way back, what are you thinking when you're sitting down at the net there?
Yeah, you got to remain positive. You got to try and you know, not let your mind drift back to the past. You just got to keep playing the next point. But as you say, you know, I start to play really well again in the 4th. I'm up 4-1. You know, he's struggling with his energy levels. He's looking like he's down and out. I get 15-40. You know, I missed a return at 15-40. I'd like to have made that one. I hit a great return at 30-40. Put up a good high lob, and he hits the smash winner. And, you know, double break, and I think the match is over. But he hangs in there. He's making life really difficult for me on my serve. But got the job done.
But I mean, are you actually able to enjoy it? I mean, the crowd are on the edge of their seats.
I enjoyed the first 2 sets, certainly, because I felt like I was playing great tennis, and I felt I nearly had it under control. But yeah, it's hard for the 4th set there. There's so much pressure, and you've got to deal with it. And you know, at times he was adding to my problems. I held a couple of big games at 15-40, at love 40, but yeah, it was a lot of satisfaction to get the job done.
You know who the 2 calmest people are in this country, don't you?
It's not my parents.
Yeah, do you not think so? Because how do they sit there like that? I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I think my mum enjoys it more than my dad, but they do a pretty good job. I think they're as nervous as everyone else, and they're willing me on, and it's great to have their support.
So now into the semi-final. You've been there, of course, before.
Sure.
What are your immediate feelings? I know you've only just come off court, but what do you feel?
My immediate feelings, in all honesty, is it's nice that I'm not playing Sampras, because I lost to him on those 2 occasions, and I certainly played some great tennis. But you know, Goran is a pretty good story for him as well. The way he's been playing, and he's had a lot of support, and it's not going to be easy. But I take a good record into that match.
He's never beaten you, has he?
No, that's right. I think I've beaten him 3 or 4 times, so hopefully I can keep that record going. But it's certainly not going to be easy.
You must be amazed that he's at this stage in the competition, though.
Well, he's always had the ability, hasn't he, with a serve like that on these courts when the weather's been hot. He's certainly got the tools, and he's put it together. He's had a rough time for you know, a year, 18 months, and he's had some shoulder problems, but it seems like he's got his game on track.
So what do you go off and do now? Do you allow yourself a mini celebration?
No. I sort of make sure I take care of my body, you know, stretch and get a massage, and just make sure I start charging the batteries from now, so I'm ready for Friday.
Well, it was a fantastic performance.
Thanks,
try and win a bit easier next time, will you?
I will do.
Because we're all nervous wrecks.
I'd like to. Thanks very
much.
much.
Well done, Tim.
Thanks.
Yes, I think we could all do with a massage after that. It really was nerve-wracking, but the dream of a British champion lives on here at Wimbledon. Tim will be back in the semi-finals on Friday. But let's get our view from the panel in the commentary box. It's John, and John. I don't know how to address you, actually, other than McEnroe.
John, and John.
I think we'll just have a free-for-all. So to whichever John. I mean, first of all, he played the big points there so well, and I think that was the key to that match and what has been, you know, different about Henman this year.
Absolutely. I mean, you could see there were so many crucial points there. I mean, there was one big point where he had to get the break in the 4th set, where he had to come up with an unbelievable lunge volley. There was a couple of crucial occasions there where he had to hit a big second serve. I mean, he got through on those points. And in previous years, sometimes he's been a bit shaky on those serves, but today, when it mattered, he really came through.
And Mackie seems to have taken your advice about getting the crowd involved. He's doing it more and more with every match.
He doesn't make it easy for you guys, though, here in England, does he? I mean, you thought, finally. I mean, he had a couple sets under his belt. He got tight, lost the 3rd pretty easily. But then in the 4th set, 4-1, he's got 4 break points. Nice, easy little 4th set to get to the semis. But no,
Well, I think
not gonna happen that easily.
And you have to hand it to young Federer. I mean, really, that's his first experience of a big occasion on this centre court after Sampras. And, you know, having done one thing, you generally react at that age. You think, you know, you've had this wonderful performance to beat the champion. Usually, you would expect a less competent performance.
Well, we talked with Sue earlier, John. You got to leave it to the old guys. I mean, come on. And you got Henman, he's had his chances. Goran, we know about his story. Rafters talked about his final Wimbledon. Agassi, he's trying to make some more history. So Federer, his time will come.
But that's what they said about Ken Rosal. His time will come. 4 finals and he lost the lot.
But is this Tim's time? Do you think he can win it?
Well, I picked him before the tournament. I definitely think he can win it. I mean, he's certainly going to go in the favorite against Goran. He's never lost to him, so that tells you something. But, I mean, if he has to play an Agassi, say, in the finals, I mean, crowd is going to be... I mean, either one, really. I mean, does it matter? I mean...
No.
There's no doubt that he can win it. He has the right shots on grass to win the championship. And I think he will believe and he'll want it enough. It's just a question of whether he can produce it on the day.
Yeah, but he's got a great game to beat Ivanisevic too. I mean, he loves that block return. I mean, he can get the ball down at Goran's feet, make him play a lot of volleys. I mean, and he's got such a good record against Ivanisevic, so no reason why he can't get through that one.
Well, what is the crowd worth here? How many a game? 15 a game?
I think it should be a break a match, and that's, you know, sometimes that's all you need against Goran. And the first time, Sue, that I saw with Goran that he started hey, is the shoulder a little bit tight? He's not used to playing this many matches. He really has not played a lot of matches in the last couple of years, and you have to like Tim's chances. But that's what Goran wants to hear, of course. Right? Write him off again.
But this is probably the understatement of the day, but it's going to be such a totally different match for Tim on Friday against Goran. Lack of rhythm. I mean, John McEnroe, what was it like playing the big servers and trying to get, you know, some sort of rhythm against
You're talking to the wrong person, because that's really when it came in the mid-'80s, that was the change to me that really was the most difficult thing that I ever had to adjust with when Boris Becker came on the scene. Then there's even guys like, Sampras, obviously. But when the rackets came in, the technology and the power, I mean, it is very tough. But the good news for him is he's grown up with it. That's the difference. He's grown up with it. He's used to it. He knows plenty about grass court tennis. It's like John pointed out. These points are going to be short, but he does like to block his return, and that's what he's going to need to do against Goran.
How worried should we be when Tim's talking about that dip in form, that lapse of concentration in the third set?
Well, I don't think we need to be too worried about that, no, really, because it wasn't that he dipped too much. It was that Federer hit a dream patch. I mean, he was on cloud 99, never mind cloud 9, some of the shots he was hitting. Yeah. And you've got to allow an opponent to do that every now and again. You can't always knock them off in straight sets.
You sound so English right now, John. Come on.
But it was actually, Tim said it in his interview just after the match, that he felt that he dipped and he lost his concentration. Is that a worry for the one or possibly two matches to come?
Well, listen, it's a worry for everybody. I mean, Agassi, to me, is the one who's got the best concentration. But Goran's is known to go off for a bit. So there's, in that case, he's someone. Rafter's he hasn't played his best stuff, which may be good news for him at the end. But this is a problem that all tennis players have. I mean, and you can see in the course of a couple minutes how the tide can change so quickly here at Wimbledon.
That's right.
And what about the court? I mean, this has been an unusual Wimbledon, I know, because we've hardly had any rain and the court's, you know, playing very hard, the bounce is high, but we're expecting possibly some showers, some thunderstorms over the next few days. How is that going to change it, and who is that going to favour?
Boy, she's asking tough questions.
Well, in fact, the court isn't so very different because it's always covered when it rains. They don't water it, and it is nice and firm.
John.
It's true. No, they don't.
But it still does get moisture in, and if it gets colder, the whole atmosphere changes, and grass is a surface that changes quicker than any other.
Well, I would think, I mean, if that's the case, if the court slowed down even further, the slower the court gets, the better Agassi's chances are. But
absolutely.
If it starts raining and it gets a little slippery out there, then it's going to favor the servers. It wouldn't be right if we didn't have some rain, right, guys? Yeah. It would just not be right. I wouldn't feel like I was in London.
Well, it's been threatened for tonight, so keep your fingers crossed again.
OK, well, just before we go, predictions then for both semis, because I obviously want to talk about Agassi and Rafter too.
Well, first of all, I'm going to stick with the guy I picked before. You can't change now. But and as far as the other match goes, that's a tough call. I'm going to go with Agassi in that match. But to me, the match they played last year was probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest match I've ever seen in a Wimbledon semifinal. So expect another good one on Friday.
Okay.
Well, if you're asking me, I'm going for Henman against Ivanisevic, and I think Rafter against Agassi. I'm going to disagree with you there because I think he is the only really good, great, natural grass court player left with Henman. In the bottom half, he's the only one.
So Goran's not a natural grass court player?
Oh, yes, he is. He is, but
so
Henman has the winning record against him, and he'll keep it up.
Yeah, well, I go for Henman against Agassi, with Henman winning.
OK, thanks very much. I just got to tell John Lloyd, that is, call from the referee's office. You're needed on court for one of the old boys' doubles now.
Oh,
so.
well, thank you.
We're going to keep the TV on for that, right?
I prepared well for it.
We will. We'll have it on slow-mo if we need it.
Actually, 78,
Excuse
actually.
Me. Yeah.
OK, thanks very much to the three Johns in the commentary box. So great news today. Tim Henman is through to the semi-final, but...